Our next guest is one of three players in BYU history, long storied history, to rush for 3,000 plus yards. Curtis Brown, back on the show on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Curtis, nice to have you with us.
Great to be with you guys.
We learned something interesting about you just a few minutes ago from one of our BYU radio brethren, Matt Townsend. He said, Curtis Brown, stud, awesome guy, and he has triplets. Curtis, how do you manage triplets that are now, I believe, 4 years old, right?
Yes, 4 years old.
What in the world is that like, chasing 3 4-year-olds around in your house?
It's quite an eye-opening experience, but it teaches you a lot of patience and got to be consistent. And no, I feel like sometimes my younger one, we have one that's going to be 3 on Saturday. I feel like sometimes he gives the 3 the run for their money. But no, eventually they'll get to a point where they actually fear me, because right now I don't think they do. They're fearless, and so one day I'll actually follow through on all my threats. But for right now, it's just words.
Are any of them displaying the elusiveness that you had as the BYU running back?
You know what? They're displaying some of the trash talk that I had at BYU. So there's times where they know how to talk back to me, and at least I know they have a little bit of a confidence and attitude, which is good. You have to have a little bite to you. So
yeah, a little juice never hurt anybody. Where are you at now? What are you up to post BYU?
Yeah, so living out here in Clovis, California. Family and we moved out here about 4.5 years ago, and just been living the dream out here in Central Valley, California ever since. But just doing medical sales, been doing that for the last 10 years, and just continuing to go strong with that.
Fantastic. Curtis Brown with us on BYU Sports Nation. When you, as a former player, now about a decade removed from your glory days in Provo, look at this year's 2017 football schedule featuring the likes of LSU, Wisconsin, Utah, Mississippi State, Boise State, what do you think about that rundown?
It's, I was actually just talking with somebody about this the other day, LSU, to be able to play in that stadium would have been amazing. Some of these ACC, SEC schools, the opportunity to play against those type of programs is one that, you can only hope and dream for. But I think at the time, my eyes were just excited about being able to play against, USC, get to play against Notre Dame, having an opportunity to play against Boise State. And while you look at some of these programs now, you're like, wow, that's awesome. I think at the time when I was in college, we had an opportunity to play some pretty good teams as well, and I'm just happy for them. I mean, at the end of the day, these schedules are created, sometimes 7-10 years in advance, and so you have no idea what the teams are going to look like, and you just hope that when you get a chance to play against these teams, that your team's at its best and your opponent's at their best, so that you guys can give, so each team can give the fans a great showing and demonstrate that both programs are quality programs.
Curtis, what do you think of what Kalani Sitake is doing with BYU football now here in year 2?
I think it's great. I think at the end of the day, whether you're a Utah fan or you're a BYU fan, it's a culture. And what I've noticed is that when it comes to BYU fans, players, everybody, they want to be around the program. Former players, they want to be around the program. They're truly invested, and they're wanting to be a part of it and feel like it's family. And I think that's what Kalani is really focused on, is ensuring that those that have come before us truly feel welcome, truly feel involved, truly feel incorporated into what's going on and moving forward. And so that's what's exciting to me, is to see guys that I never saw come back and stand on the sidelines during my playing days, or even after my playing days, finally show up to games, be a part of the action. That's what you live for, is being able to play for those that have come before you.
Curtis, you had an opportunity to be one of the guys that stepped up after Luke Staley. BYU is in a similar situation now, Jamal Williams, drafted by the Green Bay Packers in the 4th round, all-time leading rusher, a title that you also held for a little while. But the running backs, undoubtedly a question mark on this BYU team. We know a little bit about Squally Canada and some of the other guys. What do you think about this group of, right now, unproven running backs?
The thing I'm excited for is just the diversity, and being able to see what different dynamics and things can come of the offense because of the individual styles of each running back. Had a chance to just watch a little bit of film on each of the running backs, and they're all very different, all very unique, and they bring a different aspect to the offense that you can't really plan for. It's just too much. And so I think it's actually going to be fun for a little bit just to see the different running backs, see who steps up. But at the end of the day, it's all about leadership. It's that player that steps up. I mean, I don't care who the lead running back is as long as that lead running back has confidence in themselves. They run with confidence, and they demand the ball, and they want to make plays. It's tough because some of these guys do have experience, but none of them have really been able to have a true number one role. And with it being open, they got to go into fall camp thinking. Everyone has to think that they're the starting running back. And as a coach, offensive coordinator, running backs coach with Reno, he knows who his strengths and weaknesses are for each player, and being able to manage that and keep everybody focused and keep everybody giving their all.
Curtis, our Twitter question today: who will lead the BYU Cougars in rushing in 2017 and why? It's not almost. If it's, I was going to say the consensus answer, but some people think other things. Squally Canada is kind of the number one answer for a lot of people. He's the incumbent guy that backed up Jamal, started a couple games, was effective when he got in there. Is your pick Squally Canada? Because I believe that a lot of people feel that way.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. It's hard to say right now, especially after watching, and I believe his name's Ula
Tulutau.
Not sure how spring went for him or whatnot, but just watching his high school film, I mean, that dude's a beast. Especially knowing, he's had time to serve a mission, mature a little bit mentally, coming in. I know the roster says 6'1", 255. I really don't care because after watching him just in his high school film, I think he's going to have a chance to contend. Ultimately what it's going to come down to is who can be consistent and who's just going to run hard and break tackles. And I think most importantly, as you look at the schedule, got to have a lot of downhill runners. Got to have guys that are going to be able to make the first guy miss and put a shoulder into the second guy, and be able to, fall forward. And that's the most important thing as a running back. And I know when Coach Reynolds was there, the goal is to average 4 yards a game, and the goal also is to always fall forward on every run. If you can make the first guy miss, fall forward on every run, you'll be successful. And so I think for Squally, definitely, I don't, after watching film on him, he has a lot more to show. I definitely feel like he has a lot more to show. I think there's a lot of pressure anytime you're backing up a guy like Jamal. You feel like you have to make the most of every carry. You don't want to make any mistakes. But I think for Squally, I think he has another level that we haven't seen yet. And ultimately what he's going to have to demonstrate is that confidence to be able to just run and not care about anything else other than just playing ball. And if he can do that, I think him in combination with they both can combine and do some great things.
Curtis Brown with us on BYU Sports Nation, former all-time leading rusher at BYU, was part of an 11-2 2006 Las Vegas Bowl champion team with the likes of John Beck and company. Curtis, you had the opportunity to watch Harvey Unga pass your all-time rushing mark, and then Harvey watched Jamal Williams just recently pass it. What's it like to watch those guys strive for that number and then pass it?
It's exciting. It's fun. I mean, we all are eventually going to have to, pass the torch one day. Hopefully Ty Detmer will get to pass the torch to somebody. We'll see, in regards to stats and things like that. But, at the end of the day, the guys that come before us, we owe it to them to do them proud. And I think when I came in here, Luke Staley had done a wonderful job of, establishing the running game for the running backs. And my goal was to, kind of like you think when you go to a friend's house and you play, leave it in a better condition than when you got there. And I felt like Luke was a great example to me, and I felt like my goal was never to be like Luke Staley, but to be a running back that could be in the same conversation, in the same paragraph with Luke Staley. And I think with Harvey just came out and he was just all about BYU football. He was all about just the team and winning. He wasn't about personal stats, and I think that's when he had success.
Let's wrap with.
You take a look at.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, go ahead and finish your thoughts, sir.
No, I was gonna say, and with the same thing for Jamal. I think Jamal, he just came in wanting to have fun, loving the game of football, and he gained an appreciation for BYU. My hat's off to him for taking the year off to focus and get things back in order on his personal life, and then coming back for his senior year. I mean, to me, he's probably the best running back that I've ever seen. Just period. Just watching him play and just so many different things. He's so talented, so passionate. I mean, the dude he's just a beast. And I'm so proud of the success that he's had at BYU, and I wish him nothing but the best in Green Bay.
I was going to ask you what you think he could be capable of this year with the Packers. He seems like he's in a good situation there where he could get some backup run behind Ty Montgomery.
No, I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. The kid is, when it comes to running, he's mature beyond his years. I mean, he runs like he's 250 pounds and is just a beast. He's not intimidated by anybody, regardless of your size, whatever. He feels like he can run over anybody, and that's one thing that it comes down to at the next level is you have to have confidence. You're not going to be able to outrun. You're not going to be able to outshake everybody. So at the end of the day, you got to be confident enough that you can put your shoulder down and take something to somebody. The most important thing for him is it's a long season. It's a long season. You got 16 games plus, the preseason. Most important thing that he can focus on is just keeping his body healthy. And the crazy thing is in the NFL, you don't really see too much of the injuries and things that go on, but guys are playing through a lot. And the most important thing that he can do is just take care of his body and make sure that he can hold up, because he's going to get his opportunity to lead. And he just has to make sure that he's physically and mentally prepared for that.
Curtis, it's great to talk to you and reconnect talking BYU football running backs. Good luck with the trash talk with your 4-year-olds and your 3-year-old not too far behind, man.